Dahl looked up to ask him if it was time for him to start another pod. He was all alone in the lab. "What the hell?" Dahl said to himself. The outside door to the lab slid open, and King and Captain Abernathy stepped through. Dahl stood and saluted. "Captain, Commander," he said. King looked around the laboratory. "Where are your crewmates, Ensign Dahl?" he said. "Errands," Dahl said, after a second. "He'll do," Abernathy said, and strode forward purposefully toward Dahl. He held a small vial. "Do you know what this is?" he said. A small vial, Dahl thought, but did not say. "A xenobiological sample," he said instead. "Very good," Abernathy said, and handed it to him. "As you know, Ensign, we are currently above the planet Morovia, a planet rich with artistic wonders, but whose people are superstitiously opposed to medical practices of any sort." He paused, as if waiting for acknowledgement. "Of course, sir," Dahl said, giving what he hoped was the expected prompt. "Unfortunately, they are also in the throes of a global plague, which is decimating their population," King said. "The Universal Union is concerned that the damage caused by the plague will collapse their entire civilization, throwing the planet into a new dark age from which it will never recover. The government of Morovia has refused all Universal Union medical help," Abernathy said. "So the Intrepid was secretly assigned to collect samples of the plague and engineer a counterbacterial, which we could release into the wild, burning out the plague." "Counterbacterial?" Dahl thought. "Don't they mean a vaccine?" But before he could ask for clarification, King was speaking again. "We sent a covert two-man away team to collect samples, but in doing so, they became infected themselves," King said. "The Moravian plague has already claimed the life of Ensign Lee." "Damn plague liquefied the flesh right off her bones," Abernathy said, grimly. "The other Intrepid crew member infected is Lieutenant Kerensky," King said. At this, both Abernathy and King looked at Dahl intensely, as if to stress the sheer, abject horror of this Lieutenant Kerensky being infected. "Oh no," Dahl ventured. "Not Kerensky?" Abernathy nodded. "So you understand the importance of that little vial you have in your hands," he said. "Use it to find the counterbacterial. If you can do it, you'll save Kerensky." "And the Moravians," Dahl said. "Yes, them too," Abernathy said. "You have 6 hours." Dahl blinked. 6 hours? Abernathy angered at this. "Is there a problem, mister?" he asked. "It's not a lot of time," Dahl said. "Damn it, man!" Abernathy said. "This is Kerensky we're talking about! If God could make the universe in 6 days, surely you can make a counterbacterial in 6 hours. "I'll try, sir," Dahl said. "Try's not good enough," Abernathy said, and clapped Dahl hard on the shoulder. "I need to hear you say that you'll do it." He shook Dahl's shoulder vigorously. "I'll do it," Dahl said. "Thank you, Ensign Dill," Abernathy said. "Dahl, sir," Dahl said. "Dahl," Abernathy said, and then turned to King, turning his attention away from Dahl so completely it was as if a switch had been thrown. "Come on, King. We need to make a hyperwave call to Admiral Dresner. We're cutting things close here." Abernathy strode out into the hallway, purposefully. King followed, nodding to Dahl absent-mindedly as he followed the captain. Dahl stood there for a moment, vial in his hand. "I'm gonna say it again," he said to himself. "What the hell?" The storage room door opened. Cassaway and Mbeki came out of it. "What did they want?" Cassaway asked. "Checking inventory again?" Dahl asked, mockingly. "We don't tell you how to do your job," Mbeki said. "So what did they want?" Collins asked as she briskly walked through the outside door, Trin following, cup of coffee in hand. Dahl thought hard about yelling at all of them, then stopped and refocused. He held up the vial. "I'm supposed to find a counterbacterial for this." "Counterbacterial?" Trin asked. "Don't you mean a vaccine?" "I'm telling you what they told me," Dahl said. "And they gave me 6 hours." 6 hours, Trin said, looking at Collins. "Right," Dahl said, "which, even if I knew what a counterbacterial was, is no time at all. It takes weeks to make a vaccine." "Dahl, tell me," Collins said, "when King and Abernathy were here, how were they talking to you?" "What do you mean?" Dahl asked. Did they come in and quickly tell you what you needed? Collins said. Or did they go on and on about a bunch of crap you didn't need to know? They went on a bit, yes, Dahl said. Was the captain particularly dramatic? Castaway asked. What is particularly dramatic in this context? Dahl asked. Like this, Mbeki said, then grabbed both of Dahl's shoulders and shook them. Damn it, man! There is no try! Only do! Dahl set down the vial so it was not accidentally shaken out of his grip. He said pretty much exactly those words, he said to Mbeki. Well, they're some of his favorite words, Mbeki said, letting go. I'm not understanding what any of this means, Dahl said, looking at his lab mates. One more question, Collins said, ignoring Dahl's complaint. When they told you that you had to find this counterbacterial in 6 hours, did they give you a reason why? Yes, Dahl said. They said that was the amount of time they had to save a lieutenant. Which lieutenant? Collins said. Why does it matter? Dahl asked. Answer the question, Ensign, Collins said, uttering Dahl's rank for the first time in a week. A lieutenant named Kerensky, Dahl said. There was a pause at the name. That poor bastard, Mbeki said. He always gets screwed, doesn't he? Castaway snorted. He gets better, he said. Then he looked over to Dahl. Somebody else died, right? An ensign named Lee was liquefied, Dahl said. See? Castaway said to Mbeki. Someone really needs to tell me what's going on, Dahl said. Time to break out the box, Trin said, sipping his coffee again. Right, Collins said, and nodded to Castaway. Go get